Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. This is going to be the first of many videos going over different CSS frameworks. This one we're going to be going over Bootstrap, since that's sort of the epitome of popular CSS frameworks. And what's the purpose of a CSS framework? Just to kind of first set the stage for what these are. These are essentially pre-made CSS. It sets a lot of the styles for you to make responsive designs, pre-designs. They have nice little components that make doing basic stuff really easy. This does not mean that you can't create your own custom CSS on top of it, but what it does, it just saves you time in doing a lot of the basic CSS. So what I'm going to do is I have a project set up here for doing this kind of thing. So I'm going to bring up that HTML file. Let's go head over to Bootstrap. And Bootstrap is sort of one of the most popular. It's one of the things I made before that was like Flexbox and Grid. Bootstrap was one of the easiest ways to have an easier management of trying to create like floats and columns and things like that. So Bootstrap became really popular because it saved a lot of time and saved a lot of stress. Now there's dozens, if not hundreds, of different CSS frameworks. So let's actually get all set up here. So usually what you want to do is you want to head over to Getting Started. Okay, we're going to use the Bootstrap CDN. So here's the CDN links. Okay, so I'm going to, first I want the CSS. So I'm going to put that over here in the library section. It's in my head tag basically. And then this also has certain interactive elements inside of Bootstrap that are JavaScript based, so you can bring those in as well. So I'll bring that in. I want to add a defer keyword so that we don't have to worry about it loading before my other code. That should belong over here. Save. And neat. And actually, let me just put this in the server. So open with live server. Okay, and eventually that'll open in the browser. Okay, and you already can kind of see some minor changes from default fonts and whatnot just from putting in Bootstrap. But now let's see here. Once you have, the way most of these frameworks work is that it doesn't really do anything until you start adding some of the classes that are built into it. So we'll head over to the CSS area and start looking at the documentation. Okay, and let's see. First, let's do the buttons. Okay, introduction, grid system, containers. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to do like a bunch of columns, so here's like an example. So let's just actually copy that example. Control C. I'll put this below the buttons. But you see basically what they're doing is they're creating a row, a div class that's row that represents a row, and then you can create columns in that row with this type of these classes. So you can see here, column. It's a column of medium size that takes up one spot, and then you just do that. So let's see what it looks like when we save it. And go over here. And you see here, there's 12 columns in that row, and you guys get the idea. Cool. But with container layout by changing your outermost container to a container fluid. Again, most of the stuff is about formatting. What I want to look for is buttons. Oh, here we go. Just click down here on the side here. Buttons. Okay, and it's usually like the standard. So actually, and then here you can actually see an example of the buttons. But it's just simple as adding these classes. So in this case, I could go to the buttons that I already have created here, and I had like class equals btn button. Okay, and see how that button changed relative to the other buttons. And then there's different types of buttons. So you can go here and take a look at all the details as far as the different button options and stylings. And again, I can always apply my own CSS on top of that and customize it even more. Okay, and the cool thing about it is that it also kind of makes it responsive. So let's see here, what happens if I try to load those columns into mobile view. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and see how it kind of automatically lays them out into rows once you get to a certain width. Okay, because most of these CSS frameworks, they have a lot of that responsive styling built in, so you don't have to think about it. So you just design your page, and then it makes it all responsive for you. Oh, don't want to close that. But that's essentially Bootstrap. I'm not going to get into every detail of Bootstrap, but the idea is that you can see kind of how it works. And basically, you just read the documentation, you take a look at what you're looking for. So, hey, you want to create a table. Hey, you can create a table that looks like this. And then here are the classes. Basically shows you example code. And since I'll leave it at that. So that's Bootstrap. I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll probably do Materialize next.